Hello and very good to have you with us for English News Broadcast live from the headquarters in Asmara at exactly 10:30 p.m. local time. First, the top stories. President Isaias Afwerki conducted an interview with local media outlets on domestic affairs. Eritrea participated at least developed countries group summit. Burkina Faso scraps 61-year-old military assistance deal with France. China doubles tone on Taiwan reunification. President Isaias Afwerki conducted yesterday, 4th of March, an interview with local media outlets on various domestic affairs. A full report follows.
President Isaias Afwerki conducted an interview yesterday, 4 March 2023, with local media outlets on various domestic affairs. In the interview, President Isaias stated that identification of our development priorities for the current year within the comprehensive medium to long-term developmental roadmap and framework that was charted out in 2019 is relatively evident. President Isaias pointed out that the development priorities for the current year are indeed predicated on three fundamental and interlinked parameters. Number one, water infrastructure. 2, energy. And number 3, critical physical infrastructure to include roads, railways, etc. In terms of water infrastructure, President Isaias Afwerki indicated that the task is not limited to construction of big dams. It includes whole scale of interlinked measures such as afforestation, terracing, utilization of subterranean water, etc. that must be pursued at the village and sub-zoba levels throughout the country and with full participation of local administrations and the wider public. Noting that Eritrea may have accumulated more than 500 million cubic meters of water in the big dams constructed so far, President Isaias said that this is not adequate in terms of the latent potential. More importantly, effectiveness will be measured by transition to irrigation, utilization of selected and appropriate seeds, and above all, our human capital in terms of optimal organizational and technical capacity. This has not materialized so far, President Isaias added. In regards to Eritrea's potential in the blue economy, President Isaias underlined that the country's endowment in fisheries is huge, as the annual maximum sustainable yield, MYS, is estimated between 80,000 to 120,000 tons. 60% of these are small pelagic fish, which may not yield huge export revenues. Still, 40% constitute different species for the high-end export market, but due to infrastructural bottlenecks, harbors, energy and associated facilities, the exploitation of marine resources remains limited at about 10%, which does not fully cover domestic demand. President Isaias also noted that tourism and other marine-based minerals such as salt, etc., are substantial resources which have yet to develop within the government's coastal development strategy. The potential for wind, solar and geothermal energy is also considerable, he added. In mining, President Isaias noted that the country's mineral resources, gold, copper, potassium, construction materials, cement, etc., are exceptionally huge. These endowments, even if finite, will have considerable catalytic contributions to the country's current and future economic development. But the mineral extraction projects implemented so far cannot be viewed as yielding optimal revenues insofar as they are not fully processed, 80% in the case of gold and bulky concentrates for copper in the country for critical value addition. The ultimate aim in exploiting these resources should therefore be geared towards full processing and refinement within the country, President Isaias stated.
In other local news, Eritrea on 4th of March participated at the summit of the least developed countries group hosted in Doha, Qatar. A delegation led by the permanent representative of State of Eritrea at the UN, Ambassador Sofia Tesfamariam, participated at the summit, report indicated. Eritrea's delegation is also participating at the 5th UN Conference on the Least Developed Countries, which is being held in Doha, Qatar, from 5th to 9th March under the theme From Potential to Prosperity. The 5th United Nations Conference on the Least Developed Countries is a once-in-a-decade opportunity to accelerate sustainable development in the places where international assistance is needed the most and tap the full potential of the least developed countries, helping them make progress on the road to prosperity. The LDC5 will feature high-level, thematic roundtables, a general debate, and other events. It is expected to adopt a Doha Declaration. Students of junior and secondary school in Barantu, Gashbarka region have voluntarily donated blood. Speaking to ERINA, Mr. Daniel Abraham, member of Voluntary Blood Donor Association in Gashbarka region, stated that thanks to the increased awareness of the society, particularly the youth and students' voluntary blood donation activity has increased and that blood supply to health facilities has been elevated. Youth and students participants of the voluntary blood donation on their part expressing satisfaction of the noble act called on others to emulate them. Documents of the Association of Voluntary Blood Donor branch in Gashbarka region indicates that over 890 units of blood was collected last year. You are watching ERi-TV. Stay tuned for international news. Burkina Faso scrapped a 1961 agreement on military assistance with France, a move that comes only weeks after it told the French ambassador and troops supporting its anti-jihadist campaign to exit the country. The agreement was forged between the then newly independent Republic of Upper Volta, as Burkina Faso used to be called, and its former colonial ruler. The Burkina Foreign Ministry said the Sahelian nation was giving a 1-month notice for the final departure of all French military personnel serving in Burkina military administrations. On January 18, Burkina demanded France to withdraw its ambassador Luc Halat after he made comments about the country's security problems. He was pulled out for consultation. On February 19, the French flag was lowered on a base which hosted a special force unit of 400 French men near the capital. The move marks a further downward spiral in relations since the military toppled Burkina's elected president last year. As the new authorities in the chart said, they wish to diversify their partnership, including the fight against terrorism. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang has said that Beijing will take resolute steps to oppose the self-governed island's push for independence and that Beijing maintains that Taiwan is part of China's territory and will continue working towards reunification with the self-governed island through peaceful means. Li said in a report to some 3,000 delegates of the National People's Congress, which kicked off in Beijing today, they should promote the peaceful development of cross-strait relations and advance the process of China's peaceful reunification. The government in Beijing remains committed to the One China principle, which states that Taiwan is part of China, he reiterated. The premier stressed the commitment of the Chinese authorities to take resolute steps to oppose Taiwan independence. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council responded to Li's comments with a short statement, insisting that the island was not subordinate to Beijing and urging China to pragmatically handle cross-strait affairs with the attitude of rationality, equality, and mutual respect. Taiwan has been self-governed since 1949 but never officially declared independence from China. And now we have a quick review of the top stories. President Isaias Afwerki conducted interview with local media outlets on domestic affairs. Eritrea participated at least developed countries group summit. Burkina Faso scrapped 61-year-old military assistance deal with France. China doubles down on Taiwan reunification. It was me, Salim Berhana, with the news for tonight. Thank you for being with us.